These are the kings of versatility, and if you're looking for a fragrance to put your money into that you know will net you a positive return in the sense of you actually being able to wear it on a regular basis, these 10 are going to be just the right thing for you. Because let's face it, once you start going further and further down the rabbit hole of this hobby, you start getting into things that are more challenging, more difficult to wear. They take a little bit of a kind of a, not a learning curve, but they kind of are something you need to get used to. They're things you have to work into. The further you go, the deeper you go, the more situational specific they become. And you oftentimes find that you collect all of these super interesting, super unique, potentially even rare, hard to find style scents, but they just sit there and collect dust because they are challenging, they are different, and you just don't really get to wear them all that much. Maybe you have a job where you're in close encounters with people on a daily basis, and wearing something like that would be very off-putting. There's a million different variables that could go into it. But we're not talking about those today. We're talking about things that you can purchase and then be confident that you can wear it for any situation. These 10 will have you covered for pretty much anything possible. I'll drop some links to these down below so you can pick some up for yourself if you're interested. Prices below retail, discount prices, it's the way to go. I shop from discounters exclusively when it comes to buying things that have been out for a while. The new releases, I have no choice but to pick up at full retail and do first impressions on them for you guys. But anything beyond that, if it's on discounters for a price below retail, I'm buying it at the discount price. I've got a mailing list you can sign up to as well. Last night or several days ago, depending on when this video goes up, DIOR own PARFUM came into stock. Pretty good amount, 140, 150 units or something like that. And so it was up for a while. I sent out an email and a lot of you guys were able to finally get yourself a bottle, or maybe finally get yourself a backup bottle. I'm sure a lot of you were getting it for the first time. So if you hit the first link down below and sign up to that list, anytime something rare, discontinued, or hard to find comes into stock, I send out a notification allowing you the opportunity to get it before it does sell out. And that one did sell out pretty quick, not as quick as normal. There's a little bit of time, but it went, relatively fast. Enough of that though, let's jump right into it with Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Just the original. Eau Extreme is amazing as well. The original Sport has the most freshness to it. It's got orange, C notes, and aldehydes in here. I love this DNA. This and Versace Pour Homme are two amazing scents that I just really could not go without, honestly. Now the Versace is more affordable. This one is more than double the price. However, it's creamier, it's richer. If I had to pick just one between the two, if I had to, it would be the Chanel. It's a little bit harder on the wallet, but it is my favorite of the two. The Versace is still amazing though. Really, you can go with anything that has this DNA. Missoni Wave would be another great fit for this one. Versace Pour Homme, again, to reiterate, another great fit for this video in particular, for this spot. It could take this place. You kind of have many options. I try to rotate through them and give each one its fair opportunity. I've talked about both of those a lot, and this one, it's its turn next. Not to mention, this is also the pioneer of this DNA. The Chanel came out 4 years before the Versace. This one came out in 2004, and the Versace in 2008. So this one did it first, which is pretty cool, and I love it. Speaking of a scent that did not pioneer this DNA coming up next, but is one that I do really like a lot, and it's one of those deals where nowadays it's easy for me to forget about. Maybe you feel the same way because we have so many more fragrances of this style coming out even now that you just get caught up in it, right? But it's one that I do love a lot. Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. So Sauvage DNA, Sauvage did it first in terms of that peppery ambroxan DNA, that is, not blue fragrance as a generalized whole. But this one came in not long after, but before the Eau de Parfum. So at one time, it was Sauvage Eau de Toilette if you wanted a sharp, piercing, bright, beast mode ambroxan complement polar. And if that was a bit too extreme for you, you could get Luna Rossa Carbon for more affordable at this time. Keep in mind, this was at one point, believe it or not, like $60 on discounters, even mid-50s. Crazy. It's double the price now on discounters. It's bizarre, but it was more affordable and it was smoother, sweeter, and more refined. Now, later on down the road, of course, Sauvage Eau de Parfum and Parfum came out not long after, and so now there were other options built into the Sauvage DNA for you to choose if you wanted something smoother and more sweet. But at one point, this is your only option. And even to this day, though, it's still a great option. It's even, to me, a little bit more smooth and refined than the eau de parfum itself of Sauvage. So it does this DNA really well, really takes those harsh edges and smooths them out and makes it a little bit more creamy and silky. Still has that metallic smell, and there's literally coal notes in here, so it kind of gives off that impression, but in a more refined way. This can be worn for any situation. It's a compliment polar. It's versatile to the extreme. A little bit more expensive these days, but to me, it's still worth it. I mean, it smells significantly more luxurious, in my opinion, than Sauvage, EDT, and EDP. Next up, Terre d'Hermès Eau GIVREE. This one is taking place of Eau Très Fresh, which has been discontinued. This one has citron, juniper berries, and woody notes. It's a really good replacement. It's not exactly the same as Eau Très Fresh. So that one was discontinued due to IFRA restrictions. So it's kind of one of those deals where I was thinking, all right, are they going to re-release it, tweak it in a way that it meets those regulations and then re-release it? Or are they going to actually change up the scent? And they changed it up here. To me, for the better. I love Eau Très Fresh. I think it's great, but this one I can live with big time. I think it's a pretty decent upgrade. Very bright, citrusy, refreshing, has a little bit of the sugared citron, citrusy sweetness going on with a lot of woods as well. Very much does smell like a Terre d'Hermès flanker. It's got all those woods and overall the mature kind of refined elegance that this DNA is known for. Very classy, can be worn for a whole bunch of different situations for pretty much any temperature range. Next up, kind of following a similar blueprint, DIOR Eau Sauvage Cologne. Really nice, classy looking bottle on this one here. It's got bergamot, grapefruit, and petitgrain. So this line is kind of the citrus aromatic line. These are a little bit more old school smelling, if you wanted to call it that. However, this is not to the level of Eau Sauvage, the original, or something like the Parfum. The Cologne version here is, no surprise, even more bright and more fresh, more citrus focused and less citrus aromatic focused. So, really driving home the citruses and the petitgrain and this kind of white musk accord. It smells really pleasant, very uplifting, very bright, great for really, really hot summer days. This might not be the first thing that you think of when you think of a summer scent. This line in general is kind of under the radar just because there are so many other things, not only from the brand itself, but just other designer and niche brands in general that are just hyped like crazy. This is not one of them, but it could potentially deserve to be. It's really good, and it can be worn for anything. Next up, we have Polo Deep Blue Parfum. Now, this one has mango, sea notes, and ambroxan in here. Yeah, another blue fragrance style, but done in a different way, which I do really like. And at the end of the day, we know by now that every major designer brand, and even niche brand for that matter, are going to do their interpretation of the blue ambroxan style scent. This is one of them from the brand of Ralph Lauren. It's a really good one too. The mango accord is what sets this one off. It's used quite a bit in these fragrances, like even Polo Double Black uses it, and that's a coffee scent. So mango coffee, kind of an odd mixture, but it works. It works here as well. That note actually seems to be pretty versatile, depending on how it's used. It can add some fruity support, add a little bit of a different style of freshness, but it also kind of tames it down and makes the scent a little bit less serious. Maybe gives it just a little bit more of a carefree, laid-back type of persona. Ultimately, this one has a ton of versatility. It's another big people pleaser. Great performance out of this Parfum as well. And the best part, on discounters, you can sometimes get this for, I think it's like, I don't know, $40, $50 sometimes. It's well below what you would normally pay for fragrances from this line and from this brand in general. So it's a great purchase all the way around. Next up, we have YSL Eau de Toilette. Now, you guys know I love the Eau de Parfum. I love the Le Parfum. I love the newest Eau de Parfum Intense. I'm a big fan of the entire line. Even Y Live, which is discontinued, Y Eau Fresh, similar deal, discontinued. They're all really good. Now, when we're not talking like the discontinued Y Eau Fresh, the Eau de Toilette is the freshest one. It's the most citrus forward, the most bright, the most sparkling and uplifting, giving it almost the most versatility. Now, it depends on what season you're favoring, of course. Obviously, something like the Le Parfum might be more suitable for winter. It's got more sweetness. However, you can pull off a fresher scent in wintertime easier because you're not offending people potentially. Doing the opposite, wearing something very sweet and heavy in the summertime, you start walking a fine line and you could start to really get on people's nerves, especially beast mode scents like Y, Eau de Parfum, and Le Parfum and things of that nature. So ultimately, I think the Eau de Toilette is going to be your best bet for ultimate versatility, even on those really, really hot summer days. Now, I wear the Eau de Parfum throughout summertime many times, not an issue for me. For other people, though, it can pose some problems depending on your comfort level. So the Eau de Toilette will solve that. Again, similar blueprint, great compliments, great performance. For the most part, this is not the strongest one, but it still does okay, especially the new revised, reformulated version here. And it's just a great one to have around. Givenchy Gentleman Eau de Toilette, but very important here, 2017 release. Big difference between this and I think it's the Eau de Toilette 1974 version or something. You can still get that one. It's also very affordable, might even be a little bit cheaper than this. Huge difference. Make sure if you're wanting what I'm about to describe to get the 2017, the bottle looks like this. This one's got pear, iris, and lavender. Really nice, fruity, fresh, bright one. Using that iris, which has been used heavily throughout the entire DNA going forward here, but it's a fresher variety. This one doesn't smell anything like the Eau de Parfum or Reserve Privé or Eau de Toilette Intense or Eau de Parfum Boisé. It really stands on its own. Bright, fresh, invigorating, and the pear accord is something that is not used often in men's fragrances. I mean, what's the other pear scent that you think of, and probably the main one that you think of when you think of pear? It's Ultra Male, right? There's others out there, I'm sure, but that's kind of the main one. And it's like cardamom to La Nuit de l'Homme. When you think of cardamom, most think of La Nuit de l'Homme. So this one is also using that pear note. It's really unique, makes it stand out, gives it a bright, refreshing smell, very laid back, easygoing, but super versatile and very affordable as well. Up next, we have ZEGNA Classico. I really like this a lot. I like the presentation. It's simplistic, right? There isn't much to it, but that's what I like about it. I love presentations like this where they just look classy, you know, not attention grabbing. They just sit there and they look fancy just because they're so minimalistic. It's like it doesn't have to try to look good. So this has some bergamot, rosemary, white pepper instead of black pepper. Interesting. So a little bit of a spicy kick there. A little bit watery, fresh. It's been a while since it's been sprayed. But I love how that one smells. Really, really nice. I mean, look, it's nothing brand new. It's nothing super unique, but it's so crisp. It just is something that puts you in a good mood. You know, each time I smell this one, I'm like, yeah, that is just really nice, really well done. It's not trying to be something that is super out there. It's not trying to be something super unique, or it's not trying to, you know, completely copy something either. It just kind of does its own thing in its own little world. Brings this nice aura of freshness to you. It smells great, super versatile. Running down to the end, we have Prada L'Homme, just the original one here. Prada L'Homme Low, Water Splash. Those could do the job as well. And if you can get your hands on a bottle of Prada L'Homme Intense, I highly recommend it as well. Although, you know, the original Eau de Toilette, it's just super versatile. It's hard to beat that. It's got the iris, it's got some neroli, some amber, some other florals going on. Sweet iris, not sweet iris, but there's fresh kind of floral, powdery iris with a little bit of a sweet amber. Such a great scent. Some mild woods as well. Beautiful. You know, it's one of those things where you kind of get caught up in, oh, it's the iris scent, right? But when you look past that note, you see that there's a lot more going on as well, a lot more depth behind the scenes that you may not normally pick up on. But when you give this one several wearings, it just comes to life. It smells great. You can wear it for any situation. You're going to smell classy. You're going to smell expensive. You got to have Prada L'Homme. Last up, we have Infinite Spicy by Olivier CRESP from Mercedes-Benz. This is their VIP Club line, which they were kind of, you know, putting the perfumers on the bottle and kind of incorporating them into the whole marketing and everything, which is pretty cool. This is a great one. It's got Sichuan pepper, juniper berries, cardamom, No doubt about it, it's very spicy, but in an interesting way. It's a fresh spicy, you know, there's a little bit of cardamom, but it's not the forefront. It's more fresh than anything. But it has a very mature kind of soapy spiciness, a clean spiciness, fresh. It's very textured. Nothing else smells like this that I have. You know, I have a lot of spicy scents, but this one stands on its own. Great one to wear to work, to school. You know, you can modulate your sprays depending on what situation, wear less or more. It's going to be up to you and your comfort level. But if you just hit yourself with a couple sprays, just a light dusting, you are going to smell amazing because it's not going to be overbearing. People are not going to be able to fully comprehend what it is. They're going to be intrigued by it, and that's a pretty cool thing. Great performance out of this. It's affordable, kind of normally rare, but for whatever reason, a bunch came into stock, so you can get it now. Pretty cool stuff to have around. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10 fragrances that you need that can be covered for any situation at all. These have the versatility to them. You'll get your money's worth. Links will be down below. Deals will be going out to my mailing list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.